Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke and it is now the 4th of December. I did not do a live stream yesterday, as people know, because hello Alex, good morning. It's good to be back after a day of well, I don't know how to put it, like a day of I don't know if we want to call it planetary interference. I don't know if it was solar storms that had something to do with it. Good morning. Hope you're feeling better today. Yes, thank you. Yeah, yesterday I just woke up and I started with the headache and I asked my guides if I should go ahead with the live stream and they said, no, don't do it. So I was like, okay. It's been, and hello, Sam. Good afternoon. Well, it's just afternoon, morning, afternoon. Yeah, morning here, certainly. Yeah, I had, it's funny, I don't know if Jenny's going to pop on today or not, but good morning, Joanne. And yeah, I don't know, because I know Jenny popped by my house yesterday, because I still, in the midst of having this, this absolute nightmare of a headache, I had to, they're picking up my dumpster today, okay, the town is coming to take it away. So I had to finish everything, and wow, it has just been, I had the worst migraine ever yesterday, and I never get migraines. Wow, I hope it was not a sympathetic one. Good morning. Yes, good morning to, and yeah, I hope not, because, well, actually, I did read something the other day that a lot of the solar storm activity, they said if you've been irascible, irritable, frustrated, have headaches, that may actually be a result of that solar storm activity too, so who knows? I hope so, but yeah, no, it was awful yesterday. And Jenny had come by because when I emptied out my basement, I had these crates, like these, kind of the Rubbermaid crates, that I had down there where I had papers and stuff in the basement, and they were empty. So I said, we know somebody who we both used to work with, who I guess she's still close friends with, is moving, and so she had said, she said she could use those if you're giving them away. Yes, Ryan sent an update. Possible incoming tonight. Yeah, we are being hammered with solar storms and with this UV energy, and I think that's what a lot of the headaches have to do with. I feel like there's like a shift that's going on for some of us, and that we're the ones who are kind of being slammed with migraines and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, I have been getting them, so I'm not really sure what. Yeah, I don't know which is which, but hello, Melissa. Good morning. I just kind of feel like it was very, like I said, from the morning, it was not even just that I had the headache, but my whole body just felt like it was weighted down, like somebody had like just tied lead weights to like every part of every limb that I had. And I just was like dragging myself. And Alex says, that makes sense. I was shockingly headache free yesterday, but body soreness and pain. Yes. And yes. And good morning. I had both. I had both. Thankfully, I didn't have the nausea that sometimes comes with those headaches, because that's just the worst, because it's just like, all of that, and you feel like you're going to throw up. Fortunately, most of the time, I don't actually do that, but, yes, Joanne's saying yes. Yeah, yesterday was just difficult, and I had to finish getting things out to the dumpster. Fortunately, like the big pieces, like any furniture and stuff I was throwing away is out. And I haven't gone through books, because books, there's a lot of stuff, I'm putting stuff aside, because there's a lot of things I'm like, I can't just throw this in a dumpster. Like, some of these things are worth a lot. Good morning, Suda. And so I'm probably going to either see if there's certain friends who want some of these things. Like, I was going through DVDs and CDs last night. I cleared out, it was interesting, cleared out DVDs, old cassette tapes, VHS tapes, DVDs of stuff. And these were all things that I really was into a long time ago. And I'm like, this isn't me. Just get rid of it. Just throw it away. Even though some people, because there's people looking at it going, oh, maybe you could sell this. Or that. I don't have time to sit there to eBay the crap out of everything, Same. I'm glad too. And I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you all for your kind thoughts. And that's probably helps every time, but by evening, because normally I play D&D in the afternoons, and I just set it up for the other people playing, and I'm like, we'll play next time, because I just couldn't focus. And I know when Jenny came over, she's just looking at me, she's just like, oh my god, she had popped by to pick up those containers I was talking about, and I didn't even know she was there. She had parked at my neighbor's house because my car, there's only one car driveway, and she was picking them up, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you were here. You were sending me good energy. Thank you. I totally appreciate you guys and your good energy. That's, yeah, no, I really, it feels good to be supported. Joanne says she feels like a block of lead. Well, yeah, I know you've had quite a few things going on too. Actually, it was weird. I was putting stuff in the dumpster. Jenny came by. She brought me coffee too. She brought me like I think it was a pumpkin spice latte from Dunkin' Donuts. So I was like, okay. So we were talking for a few minutes, and she looked at me. She's like, go back to bed. I was just looking at her like, ugh, because my head hurt so much. But fortunately, some food, a nap, different stuff, I finally was able to get up, and I just got myself back to work. And I think I've gotten everything. There might be one or two little details. If I don't get them thrown away, it doesn't matter. I can throw them into the garbage another time. But I have so much recycling that I'm going to have to drive to the recycling center because there's no way. It will take weeks to get rid of this stuff. So, yeah. So I still have more to do, but in terms of the dumpster, at least for right now, it's finished. I'm sure when the time comes when I'm actually selling the house and moving out, it's probably not going to be a dumpster. Some of it may go out in the garbage, but there's other things that people might want. Like I can't throw my bed out now. I can't throw out, there's things that I can't get rid of at the moment. But things are a lot emptier, and a lot of stuff that I kept from, I've kept certain things that had to do with milestones and stuff, diplomas and things like that. But the majority of it's gone, and I went from having like rows and rows of like CDs, DVDs, and stuff. I now have one row, like not even a full row of CDs, and not even a full row of, I think I have like 2 VHS tapes and the others. They're just things that I know that I can't get anywhere else ever again, not on any medium. So those things I kept, but everything else went. So yeah, I've really, and who knows, before I move, I could pare it down even farther if I get stuff. I don't, Wow, that's great. Yeah, it was. It was just, I just had to do it. And I have North Node in the 8th house and South Node in the 2nd house. So, and my South Node's in Leo. So, yeah, this was like, with this whole push, and by the way, this does segue into the message that Azrael had for everybody this morning. It was kind of like, yeah, like my Pluto in Aquarius. I can't talk. My North Node is in Aquarius, and it's conjunct Pluto in Aquarius right now. It's like because it's right at 0 degrees. And Jenny's is pretty close in terms of house position. We were looking at her, or talking about that the other day, but hers is in Taurus. It's not in Aquarius. But that means the South Node is where my money and my possessions are. Phew, yeah, exactly. And so that's what I was realizing. I'm like letting go of all these possessions, of all these things that remind me of childhood, my marriage, my college years, all the stuff that went on then. It's all gone. And I'm like, yeah, you needed to clear that space because it's almost like that's interfering with identity. That's interfering with, you're making space for where you need to go. It's like, yes, I have to bring this new thing in, but I have no room, figuratively speaking. But I managed to keep pretty much all of my artwork. A lot of it had been mounted, and I managed to dismount it from foam boards and stuff. Because again, that's too big. I can't ship that. And as long as I have the actual work itself, I've kept those. But, and yeah, my altar's been taken apart, and I've literally I got rid of all my magical stuff too. A lot of the herbs I have are really, really old, so I threw everything away. I still have 3 swords I have to get rid of. I don't quite know how I'm going to get rid of those because those are difficult, but I'm sure I'll figure it out between now. Maybe I might know somebody around here who would stand to have one with their ritual stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff that I've just had to get rid of, and I literally just dismantled my whole altar, got rid of everything. Anything that was still good in terms of incenses, charcoals, and stuff. I've put it all in a bag, and I'm going to be giving it out again to different friends who I know actually still use that stuff. You could use a good sword. Well, if I can find a way to ship it to you, I will. I can show them to you, but I have to see, because I know shipping stuff like that, there's all kinds of weird regulations around something like that. I imagine it's not impossible to do that, because obviously people buy knives and things. But I just have to look into what would be involved. So I will let you know. I also have some things that I'm mailing to you that we Joanne and I had some private discussions about certain things that I'm going to get rid of, ritual items and so forth. Have to also figure out how to get rid of a voodoo doll properly, too, because I have one from New Orleans. I don't really plan to take it with me. You have to come visit before you go with your sister. Well, my sister's probably not going. I mean, I know that they're talking about getting a passport and everything, but I just feel like they're going to end up staying here. Which is fine, because I don't, I mean, if she comes, great. If she doesn't, great. I mean, I know enough people in Britain that it's not really an issue, but bring her. I don't know. I mean, I think she would rather, I mean, she's still looking after my mom, and I think there's a lot of reasons why she might not be happy there. Right now it just seems like, for her own reasons, she's not liking it here. I mean, if she moves, she moves. But if she moves, she's talking about moving to Scotland, and that's really quite far away from where I would be. So I don't, I don't see, and we have some similarities, but we're really very different people in a lot of ways. So I don't know, that if we were to, and also her husband's there too. So, and he's, well, anyway, I like her husband, but he's, I would not want to live in the same house with him, let's put it that way. Plus, I feel like, now, one of the things that keeps coming up in my readings is that, again, there's this opening to relationship, and I don't know what that means yet, because I don't think it's just talking about friends. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I guess that the message that kind of came up today was that probably everybody in their own way. That was the other interesting thing. Well, I was packing up my car for stuff because I got to drive to Habitat for Humanity today and drop off a whole bunch of donations. There's this, I think I told you, there's this older guy who goes to his wife's grave in the cemetery, and then he'll stop by and he'll just say hello or whatever. I don't know. He seems to randomly do this for different people. And I think my proximity to the cemetery, he'll stop by my house and he's one of the people who asks me, what's wrong with the priest in the church? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not his therapist. But he had popped by the other day. I guess he was remarried after his first wife passed away, and he's in his 80s now, and I guess he's getting a divorce now. I was like, what? But yeah, he just said, well, yeah, I'm probably going to be moving in the next couple of years, and, I was like, I guess his kids are coming to help him out and stuff like that. But and a number of I feel like a lot of people here who normally tune in, I feel like different ones of you have had different crises that have arisen in this last week or last 2 weeks, or just big shifts or sudden losses or sudden changes. And and basically what Azrael said is, everybody's kind of being provoked right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm still seeing that Uranus energy, that there's still some other, it's the old, but wait, there's more, it just seems like there's more. Yeah, I know, see, it's, yep, absolutely. Yeah, this is what Alex is saying. And Joanne, yes, I know, Joanne had a loss of a friend recently, very shocking loss, which somebody very, very young, relatively speaking, a younger person. So that was really sad. And I'm sorry about that. It was, and then, I know some other people have been suffering some other losses. Again, I don't want to, if they haven't told me I can talk about it, I don't really want to mention them or anything here. But yeah, it just seems like one thing after another. I'm just hearing about different types of losses and different things. And it's, so I feel like I'm just in this space where, I'm seeing all of this shift and change, and I'm seeing all of these things happen. And mind you, I want to be careful not to say, loss is always opportunity. I mean, because, that's not really what anybody wants to hear when there's a loss that goes on. But one thing that does seem to be clear is that somehow we're all being pushed in some way, really being pushed. And we're being pushed to make changes. And again, I'm not suggesting that individual loss has anything to do with those changes, but all of these things have an impact on us. And even though one is not the purpose of the other, that's what I think a lot of people do. They think in terms of cause and effect. Oh, this thing is happening because of this. But it's no, we're all part of a chain of events. And that chain of events, as certain things start to break down collectively, are really pushing us to look at the world differently, to do things differently. Or maybe even just to, if we have flagged at all in the kind of missions that I'm going to use the word mission, I don't know if I like that word, but whatever it is that we feel that we are passionately dedicated to, that we feel is our work, so to speak. If you're a Thelemite, what your will is, I mean, whatever it is that you are connected to, that this is saying, this is a period of time where we are, I don't know, whatever that is, we either need to stand firm in what it is that we're doing, or have a renewed enthusiasm for what we're doing. Contrary, I think it's relevant. I think it is relevant. It's a message to focus on what matters, the people in our lives, our passion, Mother Earth. Well, yes, I think we're actually saying the same thing. It's like, it's meant to make you focus on the bigger picture. It's meant to make you focus on, what you do have, and also about what, where, because when we lose something, then it's just kind of like, okay, well, what's falling away, and then what are we moving towards? So yeah, we need to. We need to figure out where, what these changes, what is it that we're being provoked to? The Grand Cross card comes up a lot. Okay, and this is speaking more generally, and maybe not necessarily individually. Less social media, more human contact. Yeah, that would be, well, yeah, there's a lot about around social media. Interesting that you bring that up. I was watching one of Phil's videos the other day, and he was talking about, he did a whole video on AI, and really on how it is that people can take someone's actually, like, let's just say someone makes a video of themselves playing music or something, and literally just put somebody else's face on it, or an AI face, and just copy, like they're called deep fakes, where really, and that person can say, but that's my song, and they can say, well, that doesn't look like you. Unless the person has copyrighted the song, and they can prove that that is theirs. A lot of times, everything is kind of being scraped. And I've been reading a lot more about dead internet theory. Yes, and live people too. I mean, okay, the thing about the internet that they were saying was that that basically 52% of content is made by real people, 47% is not. And that's a pretty alarming thing, because it's almost like 50-50, 50% bots, AI, stuff like that. Plagiarism is rampant. Well, see, here's the problem. It's very hard. It's really, there's no laws around what's happening right now. Technically, the idea that AI could take your work and scrape it and make it into something for itself, and you say, no, that's my riff from my song, that's my piece of artwork, that's this and that. They say, well, prove it, because it's different enough. And then they'll just say, oh, well, the AI generator just picked it up because you put it out there. So, they're really, when these things have gone to court, the artists have often lost, because there is no actual law stopping people from doing this, even though in a lot of ways there should be. It's kind of getting out of control. And every time they make a law to block AI, I think that's what Phil was saying last night. He said, whenever they make a law to block AI, it's like AI is already moved past whatever that law is. It finds new and new ways. There's a subreddit which is called something like Subgenerator GPT or something like that. I was watching a thing about it the other day, and literally you would think it's just a subreddit of people talking to each other, but it's actually AI bots talking to each other, figuring out how to have normal human conversations. So this is a lot of what's going on, and the prediction is that by the end of 2025, that 90% of what's on the internet is not going to be from people. It's going to be from AI. It's going to be AI generated. Think about it. If you're building a website now, like when I built my website, it was like, here, AI will come in and build it for you. And I'm like, F off. AI is not building my website. I'm building my own website. I know what I want on there. But a lot of people, because if they don't know what they're doing, it's just easier, I'll just let AI do everything. I don't let AI do anything. In fact, I'm still reluctant to update my phone and my computer, because I think it's moving, all the OSs and everything are moving into AI is already all over Instagram. It's already all over Facebook. I feel like we're living in a sci-fi movie, is what Melissa's saying. Yeah, well, we are, kind of. I mean, and the question is, what do we do about it? How do we it's kind of, so go back to Joanne's point. It's about, how do we get back to being human again? How do we say no to that and say, no, we're not interested in a machine faking humanity. We're interested in humanity, And when the more time you spend on the internet, but we're so, no Cyberman episode. Yeah, right. Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, they're talking about, we talk about implants and things like that. And Alex says, oh gosh, yes, my whole point of being the internet is connect to humans. On being in the internet, connect to humans, then what's the point? Right. Like I do this every day, or most days. And yeah, my thing is always like, okay, well, if I'm not, where else do I connect with people? I mean, you could use Zoom, but even in Zoom, I had to turn AI off in Zoom because Zoom wants to use AI too. I'm like, I get away from me, And I feel like a lot of these jobs, like if you go onto LinkedIn and look for writers' jobs, all of them are for companies that do AI generation. They want you to write content that they can use, that they can then cannibalize and use for these, chat bots and things like that. And like I said, they're getting smarter and smarter, so sometimes you don't know the difference. I had written to Phil the other night, and I said, well, how do you even know when he talks about the commenters? Because that's the thing, too. There are chat bots that are created to find certain types of content on social media, and the idea is they're trying to generate views. So that can be positive or that can be negative. You can literally have like something like a spam article or a fake article that gets thrown out just to make people outraged and engage with it and fight with each other. And that's why I feel like Mark Zuckerberg was in trouble for that a while back, but it just seems like it's certainly not something that's being addressed on the governmental level in a serious way. In fact, I feel like it's probably being used to try to manipulate people into fighting with each other. Alex says, even in my previous chocolate company I worked for is now using AI designs for their chocolate. They were all handmade before I left. Yeah, because everything's about money. And that's why, back to actually funny, me throwing stuff out, right? It's like, how much, what has value for you? This is why I think we're being told not to value money and stuff. AI, it's like, oh, this is quick and easy and you can do it this way and you don't have to be bothered. It'll do it for you and it'll do a nice job. Well, it won't necessarily do a nice job. You've seen the AI images where people have like 6 hands and like 3 eyes. I mean, AI doesn't necessarily do it right. And if you know what you're looking for, you know what's not right about it. With regard to the music industry, Phil had been saying that it was, and somebody else, there's all kinds of people quoting his video, because they said the music industry, if you take somebody who has a great voice and then you pitch correct them, and you take somebody who does not such a great voice and you pitch correct them, it's kind of like you're almost putting them on the level playing field. And again, there was that Kurt Vonnegut story that it reminds me of, where you lived in a country where nobody could be better than anybody else, so people who were exceptional had to be handicapped in some way. I mean, in a way, it creepily, I remember reading that story thinking it was so weird, like in the 8th grade, and I was like, yeah, well, I don't know. And record companies do that because then they can sign somebody who has a certain look, but can't really sing, and then just do something, and then when they perform live, either they're performing to a pre-recorded track or they're doing auto-tune. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, who cares? You should care. If you're paying $700 for a concert ticket, you should care that person's singing live. But a lot of times they're not. What you're paying for is the stage show. And so, I don't know. There's just a lot to be concerned about there in terms of what we are signing over. I mean, now that we're moving Pluto and Aquarius, that's the dark side of technology, right? I mean, you want to, what are you turning over to, and a lot of people are not aware at all that this is going on. There's just no awareness that it's happening. So, excuse me, I want to finish my coffee there. Yeah, so and again, if it's something you're not used to, like I remember Max telling me when he had his, Iron Maiden has been bringing that into the light too. Well, yeah, I mean, and there are some artists and some bands that are very much against this. Apparently, there's even sound engineers and people who are against this, but they can't come out and say anything or they're going to lose their jobs. Because Phil had said that on his live stream last night. He's like, oh, you'd be surprised at the people who message him, but he can't give names, he can't give any details because they'll end up losing their jobs. And yeah, no, it's happening a lot, and you also have to worry that AI is not just copying people's music, but they're also copying their images and stuff. Yes, Maiden. Yes, Iron Maiden is awesome. They're definitely one of my favorite bands, hands down. Bruce was a classically trained voice. Well, you can tell by listening to Bruce Dickinson. Yeah, he has a great voice. Suda, the implications of financial markets and AI are even more concerning. Yeah, and in addition, I saw an article the other day that was saying that hospital reports, they're using AI for transcription, medical transcription, and AI is making stuff up in people's records. In other words, there's stuff in there that the patient did not say, but AI just is extrapolating and making things up. So, I mean, if we have a misinformation problem, it's like it's exploding. I mean, if we thought we had a problem before, yep, and the reports are doing terrible jobs. You see it daily. So, oh yeah, because Alex, because you actually kind of work in that kind of industry. Yeah, that's, it's the report, AI, no matter how smart AI gets, it's never going to be a human. And that's really scary. Yeah. It's this is why, I don't know, I'm just kind of at a point where I'm avoiding doctors as much as I can. By the way, I'm not recommending that people do that. I mean, but I'm trying to avoid some of these things. I can't avoid being on social media right now. Maybe at some point we'll collectively move to some other platform that is not, that doesn't have AI, not infected with AI, so to speak. Sam says, I read somewhere that someone was diagnosed with cancer, went through treatment after they made a mistake on her record, and she never even had cancer. Oh, that's big. This was recent. Yeah, well, yeah, and there you go. I mean, there's a perfect illustration of the problem. I had one, they said they had a motor vehicle accident and the patient had a fall. No car, not a car involved. Yeah, so you're seeing this stuff in real time. And it's like you don't exist anymore. Oh my God, Alex, yeah. Your voice doesn't exist anymore in the thing, even with regard to your own health. AI is deciding what the situation is with you. Now, mind you, there can be some good uses for AI. Thankfully, I'm a human, so I can fix it, but it's happening. Right, but you still need humans because the AI... And my idea is also, okay, if they think AI is going to take over everything, then where does that leave humans? What are humans there for then? What are we here for? If AI is just going to do everything and we're not going to do anything. That's why I'm so big on people creating their own stuff. Like with the school, I'm like, yeah, I want to see your creations. And even with my students, it's like, oh, well, it's not going to be as perfect. I don't care. I don't even want to hear the word perfect now. I don't care if it, we are so obsessed with this idea of perfection, that we think that the machine, because the machine, it's kind of like with numbers. The machine can calculate something for you, right? It can do it better and faster than you can. And it can replicate content, but it can't replicate it in the same way. It's literally just this kind of uncanny facsimile of things. And that's the world that we're moving into. So I don't know. So one of them was saying, is the internet going to eat itself? Because if it's all AI and all AI does is cannibalize, if you no longer have humans to feed the beast, then what happens? Right? So I don't know. It's something I'm certainly going to be thinking about down the road about whether or not, like, we're doing this Instagram live stream, whether, like, okay, do we want to move to something else that isn't cannibalizing our work? And for all I know, every time I see that it's created a recording, I'm like, yeah, they could potentially be using my stuff for AI, even though I've not given them permission to do so. The attitude is, oh, well, if you're using our platform, that's what we do. But what other platform choices do you have? Generally, they're much smaller ones. And if you're trying to build a community, that's very hard if that's not a community that people know about. Right, I would move to a Zoom call even if I had to pay, or whatever the safe version is. Right, yes, right, exactly. And and I'm just, like I said, I'm ego edging God. As source that we are humans, we are naturally flawed. Right. Well, that's just it. And what we don't seem to realize is that what we tend to think of as flaws too. Maybe some things are very evidently flaws, right? But what we tend to think of as a flaw may actually be part of what makes us beautiful, Everybody doesn't look the same. Everybody doesn't speak the same. Everybody doesn't approach or think about things the same way. If everything is uniform and the same, then what is that? What if everybody is... That's not... Then we're all just replicants, right? We're not people. The things that, are little things that are our little bloopers and things that makes us clumsy or quirky, a part of who we are. I thought a lot about like my podcasts and stuff because, I'm kind of like the, and I was like, what? Personally, I was thinking like, well, I should really clean a lot of that up. And I do clean some of it up, but I was like, on the other hand, that's just me. And Suda said there was a movie about this recently. Alex says, we don't even have the same smell, but we can't tell if we're seeing each other on screen. Well, that's true, right? We all, and sometimes, and that's a way that people can identify each other too, is through, some people can identify very strongly through scent, Why I left teaching at cookie cutter education. Well, exactly, and that's why I continue to teach the way I do until the university tells me I can't anymore. And so far, there's been really no student complaints, so that's really what they're looking at. I think it was called The Uglies, as what Suda is saying. Could be. I'm not too up on movies, but probably that's something that people could look up. It sounds vaguely familiar. I feel like I've seen it somewhere. But there has to be places where people continue like regular human discourse and try to. It's good to see that there's. I think that's one of the big interests I have in Phil's work is that at least in the music industry, he's really pushing it back. Push. It's what they want. Students want engagement. Oh, okay, right. You're saying students actually want the engagement. The university just wants them to whatever. AI is going to push us to embrace holistic thinking entirely. Well, I hope. Well, that would be the positive view. I hope so. We're going to do our reading for today now. I hope so. Because you don't want to sell out to what makes you unique to a facsimile of humanity. This was the thing when they had that big writer's strike, and actor's strike with the actor guilds, when we didn't have that whole summer where there was nothing. And the reason was not just because, especially with the actors, they were saying, okay, well, we're just going to make an AI likeness of you and put you in things if you're just like an extra in this or whatever, and we don't actually need you and we don't need to pay you. And they're like, absolutely not. And that's why you have to worry when they take your images in all these places. Are they reusing and repurposing your image for something else? You don't. I don't know. It just makes things very, very difficult in terms of who we are as people if we're selling out who we are as people to a machine. And that's one of the reasons I've created the ISFM. I mean, it's like a drop in the bucket, right? But I'm hoping that, I'm to be at least part of something that says, no, I don't want this machine generated crap. I want us to be us, I want us to do what we're doing no matter how imperfectly. And and probably it starts with plagiarism to some degree because, it's just easier to cut and paste from the internet. And then it becomes, we'll just get a bot to do it and that'll just plagiarize it for us, right? Okay, so what do we have here for our reading? Okay, our first card is the Fool, right? So this is Aries energy. Unless it's a bad hair day, and good luck with my image. Yeah. Well, I always think that for some reason all the images I have that are official really are horrible. I mean, I'm thinking, do I really look that awful? Because somehow when people take certain photos of me, they just never come out right. I just look really, really, they're just, I hate every single one. And I think other people hate their official photos too. But we're starting with the Fool. So the Fool is, that's Aries energy, right? And we do have we have Neptune moving into Aries, Saturn moving into Aries. You're beautiful. Oh, thank you. Well, that's very kind of you. I have, I just, when I look at my images, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I think everybody finds a reason to complain about their own images, whether they're good or bad, but, but the Fool energy is Aries, and that is, there's this idea of taking a risk, doing something outside the status quo, doing something different, doing something that we're not sure is going to have social approval of some kind. And the inner feeling of which we're unaware is there's this stress. Okay? So part of what may be happening right now, I know we're certainly, as of Friday, we're certainly looking for a slowdown when Mars also goes retrograde, although I think by Saturday, Neptune is going direct. So this is more about, I don't know, that could put us in a, again, more dreams, more things that are trying to show us things in a way that is not obvious. It's interesting. I got this new deck, and I have a copy over here, the one that Natalie had given me. And it's this French deck. It's called the Sea Witch Tarot. It's actually a really gorgeous deck. But the Hierophant card is interesting. It shows this figure on it, and it says, I have 3 eyes, I look with 2, and I see with the 3rd. Okay? So that's the difference between looking and seeing, right? Right, she's a total diva. Yeah. Maybe, but thank you. I mean, that's, I don't know. I'm kind of just me, but that's very sweet of you. Stress is, we have this kind of internal stress that we feel about things, and you've got the monkey about to pop the balloon. So, I feel like that may be kind of like, and externally we've got this breakthrough, okay? So this is really the justice card is what this is. So breakthrough is more like coming into our truth, okay? We're stressing out about things. We need to stop stressing out about things and come into our truth. And our truth puts us in the place of the Fool. So again, there's been a lot around childlike energy, around playfulness, things like that, right? So the Fool is just like, dream big, take the risks. And because, I don't know, it seems like whatever it is we're stressing about, there's going to be some kind of a truth that's coming to us, okay? There's going to be a breakthrough. I'm feeling like, well, certainly for Taurus this has been said, but this might be true for others as well. The full moon in Gemini. Now, some astrologers, which is going to be on the 15th, which is the day that we're going to have our event. I promise I'm sending that email out today. Stay out of rabbit holes, right? The 15th is this full moon, and I know Steve Judd said, well, it's not going to be a major full moon, but certainly for Taurus, it's saying, I remember one reader was saying, this could be the day that you have an epiphany moment, and it doesn't have to be a dramatic thing. It could be like you're taking a shower and all of a sudden, oh, now I know the answer to my thing. Now I know what I'm supposed to do. It's that kind of energy. So you've got this breakthrough moment that we're aware of, I think. I think we're aware that truths are, things are unraveling, truths are coming to the surface. And internally, we're very, very stressed about this. But again, the advice card is the 10 of Cups. It's harmony, okay? This is about, again, getting maybe in harmony with your environment, but I think first you need to be in harmony with yourself. You need to find your own center. And really, again, if we think about Zen philosophy, everything going on around you, it's just another thing that's going on around you, As Taurus, Gemini cusp, this is get interesting, is what she's saying. Yeah, well, and Gemini energy is coming up very strongly. Communication is going to be key. And again, of course, right now, again, retrograde ends on the 15th, although we have post-shadow, I think, till January 3rd. So, but nonetheless, this is about getting in harmony, and I feel like it's not only getting in harmony with ourselves, but where we fit in. Maybe it's not the same communities. Maybe we have a different tribe. Maybe we have something different that we have to offer the community. I keep seeing the 10th house card a lot too, which is about what are you offering to the world now that the world needs it, right? And the outcome, we have the traveling card. Okay, this is the 8 of Wands. Okay, traveling, 8 of Wands is fast movement, right? This is Mars energy. This is like full speed ahead, which is interesting given that Mars is about to go retrograde. But Mars retrograde is also about us thinking about our actions, right? Thinking about where we're investing our energy, right? But there is going to be some very quick change. But traveling says you don't need to plan too much. It's just let go and kind of go along with the ride. Even if it seems like, because the Fool, I can also think of ideas of serendipity as well, right? Serendipity means you accidentally stumble into something. It's not like you planned it. And I feel like there's going to be a certain amount of that. Like we're going to come to a truth and it may shift things for us, which may be why we're not being called to plan so much right now. Because, these kinds of things are coming up. So I have a few other things here. I grabbed the Gateway Oracle today. It appealed to me, so let's just see what that says for us today. Let's see. Okay. Aha! Igniting Courage. There we go. That's our card. And let me tell you what that's about. Okay. The universe wants you to know. Being courageous doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It means that in spite of fear and hesitation, you take action anyway. It's all right to fall down, just don't stay down. Do not allow yourself to be limited by the beliefs of others or even your own beliefs. Face your fears, go beyond the boundaries of your self-imposed barriers, live passionately and boldly. Okay, so that's the advice from this deck for today, which I think is relevant to what we're talking about. Because there's a lot of things that seem scary. I mean, that's the Fool card, right? You know, just live boldly. Do what it is you want to do. Let's see. I think I'm going to do these guys today. Let's do our birds. Let's see what comes up in the Between Worlds deck. Okay, so what's our message for today? Nope. Interesting. Okay. Our card is Valley of the Quest. Okay. Let me tell you what that's about. This is one of the valleys, as they call it. And these are not in alphabetical order, so there it is, the first one. Okay, and this is funny because that's like the Fool, which is the beginning of the quest, right? The hero's journey begins here. A lot of Fool energy right now. In the Valley of the Quest. This is a trailhead, the call to adventure, the opportunity to effect a change in the world. What's out there may feel new and unfamiliar, but there's an intense feeling of purpose. This valley presents a time for opening to possibility, a time to balance the will to act with a trust in what may want to unfold organically. This may refer to shedding skins, new contracts, travel, or occupying more public spaces. Yeah, interesting, right? I feel like a lot of us, there's a lot of energy around getting out there. So I think if many of us have been, and it's funny, we're moving into the year of the Hermit though, numerologically. 2025 adds up to 9, so that's the year of the Hermit. And so, but nonetheless, I mean, I think the Hermit has to do with kind of humble spaces. Yeah, it's like the way in which we reflect and think more deeply about what we're doing. I think that's what when we're looking at the Hermit, let's reflect more deeply on what it is that we're doing. That's what we're really being called to do. For some people, that can mean a retreat, but getting away can also mean going away on the quest, just like it says. I mean, the Hermit, it's interesting thinking about what, the parallels between the Hermit and the Fool, right? But, yeah, I was thinking about that last night. It's easy to forget humility when things go well. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because humility is just, I think, recognizing that we are part of a larger system. If people say to me, oh, Brigid, you're great, you do this, you do that. And I'm like, well, I mean, you're just a vehicle for what goes on. And it's a matter of, like we said, creativity has to do with source. It has to do with what wants to be expressed through us. So we are just maybe based on, whatever our natural strengths might be. That's how we manifest, and everybody will manifest that differently. Wayne did an incredible talk on humility, is what Joanne says. I could totally see that because he's got he's really great. He's got his I just started following his. I got an invitation to follow his channel, so I've been doing that. Okay, whoops. Excuse me a moment. Okay. We've got the Void Moon with the Mars card, okay? So it's interesting because Void Moon seems to indicate nothing will come of this situation. And to see it with Mars, that suggests to me that we may be mobilizing ourselves for something. Like, it's almost like we may be readying ourselves for battle, but void moon means nothing will come of this situation, right? And so, yeah, I think I think that's a reminder not to live in fear, not to assume, and I think especially with this Fool energy, let's not assume that the future is already pre-decided, that, oh, now we're going to move into this. I mean, we've been talking about all this stuff that we need to be mindful of, fighting against the current. Yeah, I think so. I mean, well, certainly at least fighting against the tide of hysteria that we're seeing in social media and stuff. I think really it's more about going with the current. That's why we have the Harmony card, and the current is not going in the direction. I think all of this is like all the little crap that's trying to push against where things are going, or trying to make it into something that it no longer is. So yeah, I think yeah, you don't want to get, I think what your point is that, let's not get swept up in the tide of, hysteria. Because remember, what we're just saying, a lot of what is out there is misinformation. As a former librarian, I know this has been a problem. I went to an academic library talk, it's actually been like 5 years now, but I remember them talking then about, librarians have a lot more on their plate than just which is the ones. No, fighting the current takes us nowhere. My autocorrect, fighting the current chopped your sentence. Oh, there you go. Good old, artificial intelligence deciding what you were really going to say there, right? That's interesting. Okay, yeah, right. So fighting against the current, but there is certainly a current of crap out there. And so I think that's why it's saying it's very important for us to be in our own truth and to know what our truth is. And we need to know truth through different means. This is why we're learning to see and not just look. That's why what's in front of us may not be representative of what's real. So, and we should continue to allow Source to, to find our center, and then allow Source to express itself through us, in whatever way that is. And again, even if you don't feel like you're there, and if you feel like you're chaotic and, everything's nuts, creativity can be a way through, even if it just ends up being like a self-indulgent therapy dump. Doesn't matter. I was just reading, that was a quote from C.S. Lewis the other day, where he had just said, writing is kind of a cure to ills. Like the idea that you can, and again, this could be writing just for yourself, but there's writing, there's art, there's music, there's all kinds of ways. These are the ways in which we can express ourselves. Machines don't have genuine emotion. They don't have genuine consciousness. Alex says writing has helped so much. Yeah, and me too. And actually, speaking of, Azrael now wants me to write another story, not about him, but about something else. So I have writing assignments all the time from the universe, apparently. And I do still have books for sale, by the way. And Alex, have you gotten your books yet? I know there was media mail and it can take some time. But if you haven't, definitely let me know when you do, because I'm trying to find the tracking slip for that, and I might have freaking shredded it by mistake. So I'm hoping that it's going to get there. I mean, I did send it from the post office. So, and I sent it last. Oh, I need to pick mine. Oh yeah, if you want to, yeah, I'm gonna, I'll send you a link. I've gotten them, I'm almost finished. Oh, you got them, fantastic. Yeah, Maeve is a fast read. It's kind of a weird one, yeah. Loving the story. Great, yeah, yes, thank you. Well, Maeve is one of my favorites that I've written, and I just feel like it comes together. And a shirt. Yes, the shirt would be through the spring store. So if you want to get that, I'll send you the links if that's easier for you to just have them right in front of you. I can do that for sure. And I'll be sending you some physical things as well, that I've promised you. Joanne, I'm sending her some of my feathers and stuff, and then crow feathers that I picked up in Ireland and so forth. And then I'm also going to send, what's the other thing? I'm going to go through my tarot decks. If there's something that I think you would like, I will send that to you as well, of the ones that I might have gotten rid of. So, you're welcome. And, so just let me know, and I can, like I said, I usually, depending on what time I get the request, I can sometimes send the books out the same day. Just run down to the post office because it's not that far away. So, anyway, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great Wednesday. It's the middle of the week already. It's Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. And I will be back on tomorrow morning. And all you guys, enjoy yourself. Have a great day, and just do you. Don't do what everybody else, wants you to do or be scared of. Thanks. Great to be with everyone today. Have a great day. You too. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks. You're welcome. Take care.